Have the police turned up any more evidence that points to Anthony Zakar as a killer?
Nothing forensic. There was a text message on the mayor's cell
What does that say?
It wasn't Anthony.
That's it? I mean, that could mean anything. It wasn't Anthony who killed Leticia or Emily or who tried to strangle Carly.
Or it could mean absolutely nothing at all. It could be a fake to slow down the investigation.
You know what? I gotta tell you, I'm beginning to think Zakar had nothing to do with Emily's death.
So am I. Which means that the real killer is still out there somewhere.
And targeting the women in my life, and I want to know why. The only thing all these victims had in common was me. Leticia was my kid's nanny. Carly was my ex-wife. Emily and I were together for a little while. This has to be about revenge.
Leticia, maybe. I mean, I could see one of our enemies breaking into the house, killing her to send a message, but the problem is there's been no follow-up. There's no demands, no threats.
True, but what if the killer made a mistake? What if he went in to kill Carly and killed Leticia instead? And then went to the ball to finish the job?
That still doesn't explain Emily. I mean, if someone was doing this, Sonny, to torture you, don't you think they'd want you to see it? Yeah, no one knew that you were going to be at the ball. As far as Trevor and Zakar were concerned, that you died when that limo exploded in Puerto Rico.
But this all happened after I showed up.
I still don't buy that Emily's death is connected to you.
Emily and Leticia were strangled. Carly almost was. Do you think that was just a coincidence?
No, of course there's a pattern there. I'm just not sure it has anything to do with you.
Well, I can't take that chance. If this freak is out there going after all these women, Alexis or Kate could be next.
Sonny, you know how Kate feels about guards. She wouldn't even let Max put a security system in her house.
Jason, I can respect that Kate wants her independence. You know, she can live her own life all she wants. But she's gonna have to accept that our relationship together has made her a target. And I gotta do what I gotta do to protect her. The way you're looking at me, you think I'm wrong?
I agreed to stay out of Jake's life, so no one would make him a target because of me. I mean, that's the only way I know how to protect him.
Oh, so what you're saying is that you think that I should, what, just walk away from Kate?
She has to make that decision.
How can she? I mean, she doesn't really know the danger I've already brought down on her.
Got a message. Detective Harper wanted to see me.
Harper's out on a call. Have a seat, Morgan. I'll let him know you're here.
Oh, Mr. Morgan, he's a very, very busy man. You don't want to keep him waiting.
I don't mind.
No, tell Harper to take his time. I got this. After you.
This is a bad idea, Rookie.
Why you try to raise your son but not ask you a few questions?
It's because of Jake this can't work. You can't be objective, and I can't let your hate for me interfere with finding whoever killed my sister.
Anthony Zakar killed Emily, and our investigation's gonna prove it.
You sound pretty confident. Is that because of the evidence you have, or just the way you're making a point?
Zakar, I had the most motive out of anyone. He killed Emily to make a point. That man, he would have never laid eyes on Emily if it hadn't been for you.
You want me to be responsible for Emily's death? Would it be easier for you if I just went away altogether?
You know what? Why the hell do you think I was willing to continue to live this lie and pretend to be Jake's father? I don't want the violence that surrounds your life ever touching that little boy. I don't care what it takes. I'm gonna make damn sure what happened to Emily never comes near Jake.
Well, it appears I missed the beginning of a fascinating conversation. Why would little Jake be in danger?
This doesn't concern you.
Well, the sudden rash of stranglings in this town are very much my business, Officer Spencer. Do you have reason to believe that the man who killed Emily would go after your son?
I was warning Jason to stay away from Elizabeth.
Still beating your head against that brick wall, huh?
Yeah, that's something I do on a regular basis. Especially now that Anthony Zakar killed Emily. She wouldn't have been on his radar if she hadn't been Jason's sister.
There's Doesn't that make you feel at least a little bit responsible on some level? No, of course not, right? No, your little sister was murdered, and you haven't done a thing to help the investigation. Maybe you're immune to it. Just one more innocent casualty, right?
Lucky, I need your help. Someone just tried to kill Maxie. Let's go, move!
Why would someone want to kill Maxie? Unless, of course, she witnessed something incriminating during the night of the ball. Well, you gotta give it to him. Nicholas knows how to throw one hell of a party. Of course, your sister is dead, but it doesn't seem to trouble you much at all.
I want my attorney.
Yeah, I know. Don't worry, the formidable Ms. Miller will be along, I'm sure, eventually. But in the meantime, near-death experiences make you think, don't they? Well, that is if you're capable. I know that my perspective on a few things has certainly changed since that night. Sonny's blood literally flows through my veins now. My brother. My long-detested brother. Saved my life. And my father was the catalyst. I don't know, maybe it was Kate. Either way, he asked. First time in his life he actually showed that he cared. Not that I'm looking for any kind of warm, fuzzy family reunion anytime soon, but the one thing that hasn't changed for me, Jason, is the absolute contempt that I hold you in with the way you trashed Elizabeth's life. You played on her infatuation with you. You took advantage of her vulnerability during the breakup of her marriage, not because you were serious, but because you wanted to satisfy your own selfish needs. You are a shallow, heartless bastard, and I think Lucky is absolutely right to want you away from Elizabeth and her kids. Because the fact of the matter is, Jason, wherever you go, death and destruction always follow.
This is the statement you gave on the night of Emily's death. I'd like to go over it.
I got nothing to add to that.
I'm hoping you'll think of something that possibly escaped your attention on the night in question, being understandably in shock and all.
Is Diane on her way?
Probably, but I'd like to take a stab at this anyway. Starting to appear less likely that Anthony's car killed your sister, which means whoever murdered Emily and possibly Leticia Juarez is still at large. Now, you're obviously a trained observer. You were first on both scenes. Did you see anything to indicate another suspect? Any signature you might have recognized that might point the finger at someone that we haven't considered?
Unless you are planning on arresting my client, I have come to take him home.
Just asking a few questions.
Oh, yeah? Well, you'll pardon my skepticism, but this department has a well-established history of harassing Mr. Morgan anytime you can't solve a case.
Mr. Morgan's rights have not been violated. But Emily had rights too. And if her brother knows anything that can help us catch her killer, he needs to speak up.
Repeated interrogations do not bode well. I think the police want to pin both Leticia's and Emily's murders on you.
Harper says they're looking for something to tie the crimes together.
You were first on the scene in both cases.
There's a pattern here, Diane. I just can't see it yet.
We just got word from the commission. Maxie Jones was nearly strangled to death with a phone cord. Now, the MO is virtually identical to that of Leticia, except that Maxie's sister, Georgie, walked in before Maxie died. Now, I'm asking you again in the presence of your attorney, do you have any idea what Leticia, Emily, Carly, and Maxie have in common?